Right now, somewhere in your body, there is a rhythm you didn't choose: your heartbeat, your breath, the rise and fall of your own footsteps. You've been keeping time since before you could speak. Now picture this. 40,000 years ago, in a cave lit only by firelight, a group of humans presses a hollow bone to their lips. They blow. A sound comes out. Thin, strange, unlike anything in nature. Wind doesn't sound like that. Animals don't sound like that. It's new. And every person in that cave feels something shift. Scientists have long assumed music was decoration, something humans added once survival was handled. But the deeper researchers dig, the stranger the evidence gets. Music may not have been a luxury at all. It may have been one of the reasons we survived. So what if music wasn't invented? What if it was discovered hiding inside something humans were already doing every single day? To find the answer, we have to go back before instruments, before caves, before language even. Imagine a mother 100,000 years ago. Her infant is crying. She can't speak in full sentences yet. Language as we know it hasn't fully formed. So she does something else. She hums, she rocks, she repeats a rising, falling sound over and over until the crying stops. That sound has a name today: infant-directed speech. Every documented human culture uses it, and it always follows the same pattern: slow, exaggerated pitch, sing-song rhythm. It isn't taught. It emerges on its own, in every language, every continent, which raises an unsettling question. If this musical pattern shows up everywhere, automatically, without anyone teaching it, was it built into us before music existed as an art form? But that wasn't the strangest discovery. In the 1990s, researchers began studying something called motherese more closely, and they found it wasn't just soothing, it was communicating. Pitch went up to grab attention. Pitch dropped low and slow to calm. Sharp, short bursts signaled danger. In other words, meaning was carried entirely through melody, before a single word was involved. Now stretch that idea across an entire early human band, not just a mother and child. A rising howl could mean predator. A low, steady chant could mean gather, rest, we are safe here. Long before grammar existed, tone may have been the first shared language. And tone is, structurally, music. So the question shifts. Maybe humans didn't invent music after language. Maybe music came first and language grew out of it. But if sound could already carry meaning and comfort, why would humans go further? Why build instruments at all? In 2008, in a cave in southern Germany called Hohlefels, archaeologists uncovered something that startled even seasoned researchers: a flute carved from the wing bone of a griffon vulture, deliberately hollowed and pierced with 5 precise finger holes. It was over 40,000 years old. Think about what that means. This wasn't an accident, a hollow bone that happened to whistle in the wind. Someone selected the bone. Someone measured the spacing of the holes. Someone tuned it. That takes planning. That takes patience. In a world where every hour might mean the difference between eating and starving, ancient humans spent time, deliberate, careful time, shaping an object whose only purpose was sound. Why would a species fighting for survival invest scarce time and energy into something that couldn't be eaten, couldn't cut, couldn't protect them from a predator? Unless it did protect them, just not in the way we'd expect. Here's where the story takes its biggest turn. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, groups whose lifestyles echo those of our ancient ancestors, noticed something. Music wasn't a side activity. It was where the group became a group. Picture a fire circle. A dozen people exhausted from a day of tracking and gathering sit down together. Someone starts a rhythm. Hands on thighs, feet on packed earth, others join. Voices rise in unison. For a few minutes, a dozen separate nervous systems start moving in sync. Heart rates shift toward alignment. Trust builds in a way that ordinary conversation doesn't create nearly as fast. Researchers call this effect synchrony bonding, and it's measurable. Group music making releases oxytocin, the same chemical involved in social attachment and cooperation. A tribe that could bond quickly, resolve tension quickly, and act as one unit had an edge that a fractured, distrustful tribe did not. Music, in other words, may have been a survival tool disguised as art. Not decoration, glue. But there was still one piece missing. If rhythm bonded groups and melody carried meaning, what finally pulled all of it together into something we'd recognize as music? The answer may lie in something almost too simple to notice: repetition. The human brain is a prediction machine. It constantly tries to guess what happens next. And when a pattern repeats just enough times to become expected, then breaks in a small, surprising way, the brain rewards itself. That reward is what we now call a chill, the same sensation you feel when a song hits its perfect moment. Early humans didn't need a name for this feeling to use it: a hunting chant with a steady beat that suddenly shifted, a lullaby that dipped lower than expected right before a child drifted off. These weren't random. They were early humans without knowing it. Discovering the emotional architecture that every song since has been built on. Rhythm to bond, melody to mean something, repetition and surprise to move the listener. Three separate survival tools fused together over tens of thousands of years until they became something new entirely. We didn't call it music yet, but by the time that vulture bone flute was carved in that German cave, humans had already been practicing its ingredients for longer than recorded history stretches back. So think again about that heartbeat you started with. The rhythm in your chest, the breath rising and falling. The same raw material a mother once shaped into a sound that calmed her child, that a group once shaped into a chant that bonded a tribe, that a person in a cave once shaped into holes carved along a hollow bone. Music was never an invention that appeared out of nowhere. It was already inside us, in our pulse, our breath, our need to be understood without words. And somewhere along the way, ancient humans simply learned to listen to themselves. The only real question left is this: 40,000 years later, when you put on your headphones tonight, whose survival tool are you actually using?